Hey lovelies, welcome to this week's episode of Let's Get Real with Business, where I talk about the nitty gritty, the good, bad and the ugly behind business. Now this week I'm talking about why I quit Instagram and where you should be spending your time on social media. First I have to start with a story of how I started on Instagram. I'm the kind of person who's really behind the times with social media. And when my brother and my family and friends, they're all on Instagram years ago, I resisted for a long time. I thought I don't want to be like trying to copy all the cool kids. I didn't want to be all doing it for FOMO. But then eventually I did do it for FOMO, fear of missing out. I found out that a lot of coaches were using Instagram to connect with their ideal audience. And I thought, okay, if they can do it, maybe I should try that out too. So I set up my Instagram page and I started snapping away and using filters and thinking about, oh my God, how can I turn this into a photo opportunity? Oh, how do I make this seem real? Or should I be staging things? And I was spending all this time. I would go out to have dinner with my hubby and I'd end up thinking, oh, how can I make this look great for Instagram? It was taking over my whole life. Now, the thing that I learned pretty quickly is that Instagram has a lot of spammy people. I was getting comments all the time or tagged by someone like get 1,000 free Instagram followers and things like that. And even though I was tagging, I was not really reaching a lot of my ideal audience. It was a lot of just randoms and spammy things. And I wasn't getting the traction that I thought I should be getting. So I started looking up Instagram strategies and I found there's some really great resources out there how to really utilize Instagram for business. But I realized that it was learning a completely whole new thing. And there were a lot of steps, there's a lot of strategies behind it, a lot of work behind it. It's not just as simple as taking a picture, tagging it and posting it. There is so much more behind success in Instagram than that. So a few months ago I was having a really tough time and I was trying to keep up with all this stuff in my business while there was some stuff happening in my personal life. And I was really thinking, okay, I need to prioritize what is most important. And Instagram just naturally fell off the wayside because it was something new and I hadn't been getting the results I was looking for. And then over months and months and months, I just didn't really do that much with it. Anyway, when I was doing my strategy for this year and I was revisiting if Instagram should be part of that strategy, I made the decision to keep Instagram out of my strategy, and here's why. My ideal customer, a lot of them were not really using Instagram or they weren't using it in a way to connect with businesses. And also the stream on Instagram is just constantly updating all the time. It's so competitive, just like Facebook is nowadays. So I thought, why spend all this time on something that was going to take a lot of time to get right when I didn't really want to have to spend any more time in my business than I was. And I also did not want my business encroaching onto my personal life and having to think about, showing the behind the scenes and having to snap this and snap that all the time. So I decided to put that on the wayside, just put that away and not focus on it. And then I had to think about, okay, if I'm not focusing on that, then where should I be focusing my time? And really for me, the answer was obvious. I should be focusing all my time and energy of social media on Facebook. Now, I've been doing Facebook marketing going back now since 2009, since I was travel blogging and since I was writing for party websites in Shanghai. So I'm no newbie to this scene, but there has been a lot of changes since 2009 and I really can't keep up. It does my head in. Changes all the time. And it is for that reason that I decided to focus on Facebook, because it is changing all the time and you've got to be on top of your game, because the reality is Facebook is the #1 used social network in the world. And even if your ideal customers are on Instagram or Twitter or Pinterest, the reality is more than likely they would definitely be on Facebook, because most people will at least be on Facebook before they're on anything else. So that's why I decided to spend my time on Facebook, pull all my resources back from Instagram and focus on that. Now, the other reason why I decided not to continue with Instagram is this. If you are overwhelmed the last thing you want to do is add another thing that's going to take up a lot of your time, that you're going to have to learn a lot of new things to get right. So the thing is, stick with what you know, or try to minimize having to learn new things to a minimum. I know it sounds crazy, I'm all about learning and I'm a total course junkie, but that has been a disservice to me, to be honest. You're trying to learn all these new things all in one go, you are just going to feel totally overwhelmed and you're not going to get the right stuff done at the right time. So that was the other reason. I thought I do not want to spend more time trying to learn something new. The other thing is, it takes a lot of time to get good results on any social networks. And if your ideal customer is not there, then it's not worth the time. But on the flip side, if your ideal customer are using those social network websites prominently, then you should be on there. So for example, if you're a craft website, a lot of crafty people, they use Pinterest to curate their inspirations and ideas. So you would be really wise to focus on Pinterest as one of your key strategies, but do not only focus on that and forget about Facebook. You need to focus on them in tandem. And same goes for if you're focusing on the Gen Z, I think it is, the one after Gen Y, anyway, the newbies. They're all for Snapchat and they're all for Instagram. So if your target market is them, then you should definitely be on Instagram, because that's where the kids are at. That's where they're finding who they're going to connect with. So that's what you have to look at. Where is your customer at? And if they're there, then you should definitely be there. If they're not, or they're not using it in a way where they want to connect with businesses, don't waste your time. Just focus on Facebook. Now, the other reason you have to focus on Facebook is one that I'll talk about in another video, which is Facebook ads. Now, to get cheaper Facebook ads, a key is you need to advertise to the people who've liked your page. The rule of thumb is it's generally cheaper to advertise to people who like your page. And if you don't have many page likes, well, it's no point even advertising to them. And you can save a lot of money in the long run if you build up your likes and then target them. So that's the other reason for focusing on Facebook. But to get likes organically takes a lot of work these days. It's not like 2 or 3 years ago, if you liked a page, it would show up on your friend's newsfeed. Oh, Sasha's just liked this page, maybe you will like it too. Doesn't work like that anymore. It takes a lot of work to organically get people to like your page. And the way to do that is to get people to engage. The more people engage, the more they're interested in what you're sharing, the more they'll actually see your stuff come up on Facebook. So how Facebook works is it only shows people the kind of stuff they actually like to see. So if I like pictures of funny dogs like I do, Facebook shows me more pictures of funny dogs. If I like watching video, then Facebook will show me more video. So you have to spend a lot of time experimenting with all different things on your Facebook page to see what your audience resonates with. And then once you've got that formula, then you start seeing people engage, you start seeing more likes and comments, and ideally you want shares, because shares get potential Facebook likes. And frustratingly, that takes a lot of time and effort to figure out what works. And I've still not quite got the formula completely right for mine. Just when I think I've got that right for my audience, it's not quite right. So it takes a lot of time, trial and error. And if you're only focusing on one social network, it's so much easier to nail it than if you're focusing on a few. So that's the reason why I'm no longer on Instagram, and it's a little bit behind the scenes of where you should be spending your time on social media. And remember, the big rule of thumb is if your audience is there, you should be there. If your audience is not there, well, you shouldn't be there. I hope you got some great insight out of this video, and until next time, have a great time this week.